It's a secret world, often veiled in whispers and unspoken cues, where the very fabric of connection can fray beneath a surface of seemingly innocent interactions. Have you ever wondered what truly lies beneath the calm exterior, or why a woman's behavior might suddenly shift in ways that puzzle and alarm? Prepare to journey into the intricate landscape of female psychology, where we'll uncover the subtle, often hidden, signals that might just reveal a truth she's desperately trying to keep from you. Relationships are the very fabric of our lives, and our happiness often hinges on their quality. While we typically enter romantic relationships with an expectation of permanence, the reality is far more complex, often fraught with hidden dynamics and unspoken truths. Men and women, as the sources reveal, operate very differently, especially when it comes to attraction, communication, and emotional landscapes. This fundamental difference can lead to misunderstandings, frustrations, and ultimately to behaviors that, while not always overtly deceptive, can mask deeper shifts in loyalty or interest. What might appear as a minor shift in conversation or a fleeting emotional state can, in fact, be a deeply ingrained behavioral pattern or a strategic maneuver, signaling a woman's true intentions or a growing distance that could, eventually, lead down a path of infidelity. Understanding these intricate psychological underpinnings is not about suspicion, but about gaining clarity and insight into the profound ways human connections evolve and sometimes unravel. 9 clear cheating signs every woman shows, but tries to hide. 1. The cryptic veil of subcommunication. Trying to navigate a conversation where the words spoken are merely a superficial layer, a charming but misleading facade over a deeper, more ambiguous truth. This is the world of subcommunication, a secret language that women have, by evolutionary design and societal conditioning, mastered over millennia. Unlike men, who tend to favor direct, succinct, and logical communication, women often employ indirectness, double meanings, ambiguity, and emotionality in their interactions. This isn't just a quirk of communication. It's a powerful tool, historically developed to allow women to express themselves and their sexuality freely in a male-dominated world without facing severe consequences, such as ostracism or worse. When a woman is promiscuous, for instance, direct communication about it could have historically led to dire outcomes for her and her family. In modern society, it still serves to establish plausible deniability and avoid responsibility. This inherent ambiguity becomes particularly telling when a woman might be hiding something. If her conversations become increasingly vague, filled with hints that never quite land, or if she uses phrases that seem to tell without telling or ask without asking, she might be crafting a narrative that allows her to maintain control, while simultaneously avoiding accountability for her actions. Her words might suggest one thing, but a keen observer, one who understands the nuances of womanese, might notice that her body language or underlying emotional state contradicts her spoken words. She might appear aloof, yet her subtle cues suggest a deeper engagement elsewhere. The idea here is that her inner truth is always present, but she has learned to cloak it in layers of indirectness. For men who are accustomed to straightforward dialogue, this can be incredibly frustrating, leaving them bewildered and unable to pinpoint what's truly going on. This masterful use of ambiguity can effectively shield her activities, including any dalliances outside the relationship, making it nearly impossible for her partner to logically challenge her or confirm his suspicions. After all, if nothing was explicitly said, then it never happened, as the chick logic often dictates. It's a game of smoke and mirrors, where the absence of a clear statement becomes its own form of denial. 2. The ebbing tide of emotional and sexual connection. One of the most potent, yet often unspoken, indicators of a shifting dynamic in a relationship is a noticeable decline in a woman's emotional and sexual investment. Women, as the sources suggest, have a fundamental female basic conflict, They are often sexually attracted to lover types men who embody dominance, impudence, and a sense of challenge, but tend to choose provider types for stability and long-term security. The moment a man falls exclusively into the provider role, or worse, allows himself to be betaized and loses his masculine edge, her sexual attraction and respect for him can dramatically diminish. This isn't a conscious choice to be cruel. It's a deeply ingrained evolutionary response. When a woman experiences boredom or even contempt for her partner, it creates an emotional vacuum that she may, consciously or unconsciously, seek to fill. Elsewhere, this emotional and sexual disengagement manifests in various ways that can be subtle but profound. Communication might become circumscribed, meaning less talk about fewer topics, and a conscious avoidance of sensitive or questionable areas. Conversations may lose depth, becoming superficial and devoid of genuine emotional sharing. She might become less invested in shared activities, preferring her own space or the company of others. The sources highlight that women don't care about how a man feels about them. They care about how they feel about the man. If she no longer feels that spark, that challenge, or that deep emotional resonance, her interest will wane. This detachment might not be directly linked to another person initially, but it creates a fertile ground for external connections to flourish. A woman might hide this ebbing tide by maintaining a facade of normalcy, but the intimacy, the very heartbeat of the relationship will be noticeably absent. When she feels this profound disconnect, the pursuit of external validation, whether emotional or sexual, becomes a powerful draw, often signaling a deep-seated dissatisfaction that could lead to infidelity. 3. The escalating blame game and double binds, a telltale sign of underlying issues, which can often conceal infidelity, is a woman's increasing tendency to blame her partner for her emotional distress, or to employ what is known as a double bind. Women, the sources explain, habitually attribute their emotional discomfort to external factors, making their partner a convenient receptacle for blame. This mechanism allows her to absolve herself of responsibility, especially if she is grappling with guilt over actions she doesn't want to admit. The double bind is a particularly insidious manipulative tactic. It involves presenting two conflicting demands, neither of which can be ignored, leaving the victim in a no-win situation. For instance, she might say, "You never share your emotions with me," a demand for emotional openness, but simultaneously convey, "Men who talk too much are wussies," subtly expressing contempt for male emotional vulnerability. This creates a psychological trap. No matter how the man responds, he loses. If he tries to engage logically, he's not understanding her emotions. If he withdraws, he's uncommunicative. This constant emotional tug-of-war erodes the man's self-esteem and makes him invest more psychological energy into trying to please her, leaving him confused and less likely to challenge her. When a woman is engaging in infidelity or contemplating it, this strategy serves a dual purpose. It diverts attention and blame away from her, and it psychologically weakens her partner, making him less capable of detecting her deception. She might accuse him of not understanding her or of being boring, precisely because she's already found validation or excitement elsewhere. This constant state of being wronged or misunderstood can be a smokescreen, allowing her to rationalize her own actions and maintain her hidden life. 4. The ever-shifting boundaries of her needs. The concept of the early frame announcement, AFA, is crucial here. Early in a relationship, a woman, often subconsciously, establishes her inflexible terms, her most important needs, and what she expects from the relationship. These are often subcommunicated in seemingly innocuous statements. However, if a man fails to recognize or unconditionally accepts these EFAs, he may find himself in a relationship where his needs are perpetually secondary to hers. A particularly revealing AFA especially when concealing infidelity, is a sudden or amplified demand for space or independence. Phrases like, "I need my space in a relationship," or "I am a full-grown, independent woman now," are not merely statements of personal preference. They are declarations of a desire for autonomy that can easily accommodate external relationships. When a woman states she needs her space, she might truly mean, "I am the most important person in this relationship, and you will have to practically beg me for any affection or sex." This creates a convenient emotional and physical distance, allowing her to pursue other interests or people without immediate scrutiny. The example of the woman who volunteered abroad and expected her partner to simply wait, then reacted with gross insult when he dated others, perfectly illustrates this. Her need for space was in essence a demand for freedom to explore other options while keeping him as a fallback. This behavior can escalate if the man doesn't set strong boundaries, leading to him being viewed as a lovable loser or boyfriend of last resort. The more she emphasizes her independence, the more she might be asserting her right to emotional and physical freedom that extends beyond the confines of the primary relationship, making it easier for her to hide any infidelity. 5. The Madonna-whore dynamic at play. The pervasive Madonna-whore complex is a psychological mind virus that affects how both men and women perceive female sexuality. It creates a schism where women are subconsciously categorized into either Madonna, pure, nurturing, non-sexual wife material, or whore, sexually active, desirable but dirty. This societal conditioning leads many men to be timid or even asexual with their long-term partners while secretly craving the wilder side associated with the whore. Women, keenly aware of this complex, can intentionally play these dual roles, a tactic that can be used to hide infidelity. A woman might present herself as a demure Madonna within her primary relationship, stifling her own sexual expression to fit her partner's or society's expectations of purity. This can lead to profound sexual frustration for her, driving her to seek out her whore side elsewhere, with someone who makes her feel safe to be sexually uninhibited without judgment. This is where the anti-slut defense, ASD, comes into play. She might actively avoid appearing promiscuous, even if she deeply desires sex, especially in front of her family or peers. This behavior, whether conscious or unconscious, allows her to maintain a facade of fidelity while secretly exploring her sexuality with others. For example, if she tests her partner's views on sluttiness by casually mentioning a bad-behaving celebrity and he condemns it, she learns that he is uncomfortable with female sexuality. This signals to her that she cannot fully express her sexual desires with him, potentially pushing her to find that freedom elsewhere, all while maintaining her innocent image at home. Her hidden sexual life, driven by this internal conflict, becomes a clear sign of emotional and physical detachment from the primary relationship. 6. The sudden surge of independence and self-determination as relationships progress. Women often initiate a self-determination stage, a critical phase that can signal a profound shift in loyalty and commitment. This stage is characterized by a woman expressing a growing sense of resentment and dissatisfaction with the relationship, often declaring herself a full-grown, independent woman now. While this might seem like a natural progression of personal growth within the context of relationship dynamics, it often signifies that, in her mind, the relationship has either ended or is on the brink of collapse. This occurs particularly when the male partner has, over time, become psychologically weaker, losing his masculine core or leadership role. She no longer views the couple as a unified entity, but rather as two separate individuals, with her own needs and desires taking absolute precedence. This sudden assertiveness and detachment are not just about personal space. They are a profound emotional and mental disinvestment from the relationship. She might articulate feelings of being oppressed bored, or that her partner doesn't understand her. These complaints, while seemingly focused on the relationship's issues, are often manifestations of her deeper dissatisfaction. She might even assert that sex without communication is a turn-off, despite her partner's attempts at emotional connection being met with double binds. This phase is dangerous because it leads to a gradual, or sometimes abrupt, withdrawal of her emotional and physical presence. She is, in essence, preparing for already living a life separate from her partner. Her assertions of independence, especially when coupled with a decline in genuine intimacy and a clear lack of respect, can be a stark hidden signal that her emotional and physical interests have migrated or are actively migrating elsewhere. 7. The seeking of alpha traits elsewhere. At the core of female attraction lies a fundamental biological imperative. Women are hardwired to be drawn to alpha qualities in men. These traits include dominance, confidence, assertiveness, and the ability to lead, rather than simply provide. The sources reveal that women paradoxically feel contempt for men who let themselves be manipulated into being mere providers, leading to a massive decline in sexual attraction and respect. If a man consistently fails her tests, which are instinctual probes to determine his strength, self-worth, and authenticity, she will instinctively deem him lacking as a sexual being. This doesn't mean she consciously decides to seek infidelity. Rather, her inherent attraction mechanism redirects its focus. When a woman finds her primary partner lacking in these desirable alpha attributes, she may subtly or even unconsciously begin to seek them elsewhere. This could manifest as an increased fascination with other men who embody these qualities, whether colleagues, friends, or even figures in media. The surprising finding that women are more attracted to men who are already in relationships further underscores this dynamic. It's a subconscious draw to a man who is proven or presents a challenge. This external gaze is often hidden, disguised as mere admiration or casual friendship, but it represents a profound shift in her deepest desires. Her constant testing of her partner, if met with weakness or neediness, reinforces her perception of his beta status, pushing her further away. This underlying drive to connect with strength, when unfulfilled in her primary relationship, becomes a hidden catalyst for seeking emotional and sexual validation outside, a subtle but powerful precursor to infidelity. 8. The convenient loss of control. LSE traits, one of the most tragic and dangerous dynamics in relationships, often cloaked in seemingly innocent vulnerability or a victim mentality, stems from a woman with low self-esteem, LSE. These women, deeply affected by a low sense of basic trust, often view themselves as worthless, undeserving of good things, and may even unconsciously goad men into abusive behaviors that reinforce their negative self-image. Their chaotic ego borders make them susceptible to letting strangers into their sphere of personal intimacy with surprising ease, and they may struggle with poor boundaries in general. This internal turmoil leads to a pervasive sense of self-destructiveness, where they might jeopardize their health, other relationships, and even their physical and mental safety to satisfy their emotional or physical cravings. When such a woman engages in infidelity, it is often not a calculated act of deception, but a symptom of her profound internal disarray. Her LSE makes her incapable of truly appreciating genuine affection or stability, leading her to sabotage perfectly good relationships. She might rush into sexual encounters, either denying her own sexuality or, conversely, acting with an uncontrolled, impulsive sexual drive linked to a feeling of worthlessness. These behaviors are often hidden because they are deeply rooted in shame and self-loathing. She might portray herself as a shy, kind, and affectionate woman while secretly engaging in self-destructive acts, including infidelity, which she may feel she deserves. Her inability to control her emotionality and actions, coupled with her poor boundaries, makes her a dangerous partner for a long-term, healthy relationship, as she is prone to creating emotional pain and economic losses for her partner. Her hidden cheating is less about cunning and more about a profound internal struggle that manifests as chaotic and self-sabotaging behavior. Point 9. The materialista's shifting demands and rationalizations, while the desire for material provision is a natural, evolutionarily derived trait in women. The materialista archetype takes this to an extreme, actively trading affection or sex for material stuff. This behavior, though sometimes open, can become a subtle hidden indicator of infidelity when her demands shift or are rationalized in deceptive ways. A woman's level of affection for her partner might overtly rise and fall in direct correlation with the amount of money or gifts she receives. However, a more hidden sign emerges when her material expectations are subtly communicated, or when she rationalizes her need for resources from multiple sources. An LSE, materialista, is particularly dangerous because she is calculating, capable of faking sexual arousal, and virtually impossible to satisfy. She might use sex to manipulate her partner, withdrawing affection to compel him to spend more. When her primary relationship no longer meets her escalating material desires, or if a better deal presents itself elsewhere, she can skillfully justify seeking external provision. This might involve maintaining a facade of loyalty while discreetly pursuing wealthier individuals, or engaging in behaviors that, while not explicitly cheating, serve to extract resources or attention from other men. Her hidden infidelity is then rationalized by a perceived lack in her primary relationship, or simply by her inherent drive to get the best deal she can. She might hide these actions by creating vague narratives about her time, or by subtly hinting at financial needs that compel her to engage with others, thus diverting suspicion while securing her perceived benefits. Navigating the complexities of relationships demands a keen eye and an open heart, especially when confronted with behaviors that defy direct explanation. These insights into female psychology are not blueprints for suspicion, but rather tools for understanding the deeper currents beneath the surface of human connection. While no single sign guarantees infidelity, a pattern of these hidden cues, when observed with clarity and honesty, can reveal a truth that words alone cannot convey. The journey toward authentic connection begins with mutual respect, clear boundaries, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. By understanding the intricate dances of attraction, manipulation, and self-esteem, we can strive for relationships built on genuine trust and open communication, rather than on unspoken expectations and hidden desires.